Today I'll be talking about a few advanced tips and tricks for video editing in general, and I'll be doing it here in the Camtasia, the new Camtasia that was recently released. First of all, I'd like to show you, this is just the introduction, the beginning of the We Are ELB project that I've been working on, that you've been reading about. I'll go ahead and play through it once here so you can see what we have to deal with.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesomeness. Whether you need e-learning templates or custom training courses built from the ground up, we've got you covered. In this short video presentation, you'll have the chance to learn what we have to offer to help you become e-learning rock stars. So, what'll it be? Would you like to learn about our templates? We have created and continue to create templates for e-learning software such as Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, Camtasia, PowerPoint, and Lectora, just to name a few. Or would you like to learn about our custom development team? Our custom e-learning developers work hard to deliver visually explosive and interactive courses to delight our customers. Go ahead and select one of these options to learn more about what we do here at eLearning Brothers.
Alright, so that's what we're going to be dealing with, and it's not bad. There's a few things that need to be fixed and a few things that we'll need to do. The first thing we need to do is fix how she says some words here. We'll go ahead and play.
Articulate Storyline.
So right there she says articulate storyline. It's not articulate storyline, it's articulate storyline. Now we can either go and set everything up and reshoot the whole thing, or we can do a few tricks in editing. If we click on this and make sure that in the Properties tab here that the microphone is selected, we can now see the audio adjustment line inside of that clip. Let's go ahead and play it again.
Such as Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline.
Okay, so right here is where she says Articulate Storyline. So what I went ahead and did is I went and got my microphone. I didn't set up any lights or anything, but I got the microphone and I got our actress and I pulled her into the exact same room and tried to mimic the conditions of the original recording. And when I did that, I got a few sound bites. Now I've already clipped out the sound bite I want to use. It's right here. So I'll drag it over. And we'll zoom in again. We'll find that segment where she says articulate, or articulate instead of articulate.
Software such as Adobe Captivate, Adobe Captivate.
Okay, so there's a spike there when she says captivate. Let's see here what that spike is.
Camtasia.
Looks like it's also captivate. So I'm going to drag that captivate spike so that's right on top of one another. Right there. And when you scroll, you can kind of see that the bumps in the audio waveform are very similar. It looks like it gets a little bit off here, but these look similar. So it looks like it's very, very, very similar. If we play those on top of each other, this is what it sounds like.
Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline.
Okay, so it sounds a little echoey, so we know it's not exactly on. Let's adjust it, move it around just a little bit, see if we can fix that.
Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline.
Okay, so she says Adobe Captivate, almost exactly the same.
Adobe Captivate,
but then she starts articulate storyline a little bit early, so I'm going to cut this, or split it, and I'm going to split it here as well. And it looks like this smaller bump is the R in articulate, so I'm going to get that lined up. Put that right in the center of it and move this so it's right in the center. I'm going to hold down Control so that I can drag it frame by frame without worrying about it snapping. And once I've let go, I'll let go of Control. So now let's see what that sounds like.
Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline.
Very, very close. So now we have to tell this sound wave to be quiet so we can play the original sound wave. So I'm going to double click on the audio line here, and it's going to create that audio point. I'm going to double click over here as well. Now I've already got these audio points. I was using those to help me remember where to come back down. But now I'm going to drag this entire form down. And now I'll play it again and see what it sounds like.
Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, Camtasia, PowerPoint.
Not bad. Let's play it from a little bit further back.
Templates for e-learning software such as Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, Camtasia.
Okay, it's not quite perfect. Looks like it gets too quiet here too soon. We don't want it to be totally quiet until she's talking here. So I'm going to move this point over and move this point over to the very beginning as well. Right there. So now let's see what it sounds like.
Such as Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, Camtasia, PowerPoint, and...
That's awesome. So yeah, it really worked out right there. And with that music, I've already got the music playing in the background, and that is music that I have notched. So I got this this morning sun wave song, and I went ahead and pulled it into a audio editor and notched it so that the frequencies are not competing with her voice. If you would like to see a blog I wrote about notching and know how I did that, you can go ahead and click the link, and you can learn about that. Now there's another place in here where what she says doesn't quite work. Let's take a look at it.
For it, just to name a few. Or would you like to learn about our custom development team? Our custom e-learning developers work...
Right there she says, our custom e-learning developers. Got a little bit slipped up in her in her lines. So let's find that again. And I'm going to click on this to get my video line. And there's the 2 dots here, so I'm pretty sure it's right here. I've marked it there already.
Our custom e-learning...
It is. That's where she says, our custom e-learning brother.
Our custom e-learning
Developers. Okay. So I've already gone ahead and I recorded that in the same time as I recorded the Articulate re-record. So I'll move this over. Zoom back in. Let's see what we've got. So here's these 2 bumps that match up with these bumps. Let's see how it plays.
Our custom e-learning developers work...
So it looks like she says one of them a lot faster. This bump from developers is clear up here in this recording. So we're going to run into a little bit of a slip up. What I can do is mute the entire custom e-learning developers section. And then I got to find out when this ends. So I'm going to drag it over to a quiet spot so we know what we're listening to.
Custom e-learning developers. Our custom e-learning developers. Our custom...
Looks like she just finishes saying developers.
e-learning developers. Our...
That's all she says. So now when does she say developers here?
custom e-learning developers work...
Okay, so this is the word developers right here. So it's going to finish about here. So I'm going to double click, knowing that that's where it's going to finish. We know it's going to start here, so I'm going to bring this all the way down. Drag this over so it's a little more sharp. Put this into its place. Again, lining this up with the bumps because that has to match her lips. Let's see how it plays.
Our custom e-learning developers work hard to deliver visually...
It's not bad. There's a little bit of a space here of silence. Let's play it again.
Our custom e-learning developers work hard to deliver visually...
Okay, it's not bad. I could definitely play with that a lot more to get it perfect. I'm not going to do that right now for the sake of this video. But that is how you would patch up mistakes in the audio. And it works really well. If you can make it so you can't tell that there's any patch, then you've got it made. Having music over the top usually also helps to hide those patches. Okay, so now we're going to move up to a few visual adjustments. So here at the end, while she's talking,
customers. Go ahead and select one of these options.
These 2 buttons just pop on screen, and I don't want them to pop up. I want them to animate on. Now I could come to the animations pane, come to animations, and drag custom animations in and really make a whole bunch of custom animations. However, with the new Camtasia, you can come into behaviors and use behaviors on both this text and these shapes. Now I want them all to have the same behavior, and that's this sliding behavior. See, it kind of slides in from the side. So I'm going to select all 4 of them, and I'm going to drag that behavior down to just one of them. And you can see it changes all of them green, meaning that that behavior is going to be applied to all 4 of them. So I'll let go. And now here it says I'm doing the sliding behavior here in the properties section to 4 different items. Now all of them are going to be sliding in. All of them will ease in, but the direction won't be left. This custom development one is not going to be moving in from the left. It needs to move in from the right. So I'm going to select the custom development segments, these two items, and I'm going to change this to say right instead of left. Let's see how that looks.
Go ahead and select one of these options to learn more about what
That was
we
great.
do here at eLearning Brothers.
The problem, though, is now while they're sitting there, they're pulsing in and out of transparency. So I'm going to go over to during, and it looks like they're set right now to fading in a linear pattern. So I'm going to change that from fading to none. I want them both to just be solid, and it looks like I still have just that one selected, so I'll select the other two and change that to none as well. I'll select all of them now so we can make all of the adjustments the same moving forward. Now these are going to be buttons. You can see here I've got them set to be hotspots. So I want them to just be able to sit on the screen until someone clicks them. So I'm going to go ahead and change the out to none, and that way it'll stay on. So all that's going to be happening is the in. Okay, so now it's all correct. So now when we play it through, they should both slide in. They should both slide in from the outside. They won't pulse, they'll just sit there. And they're going to just sit there holding still all the way until the very end, and then they'll disappear. So that'll work just fine. The best next tip is going to be about lower thirds. Now here at the very beginning of our production, I'll zoom in a little bit, we have it fading in.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is eLearning Brothers.
And she introduces herself and the subject of the video. That's usually about the time that you want to have a lower thirds. Also, you'll notice I had it fade in. The music doesn't necessarily fade in. It naturally does. If you click on this, you can see it's flat. I didn't tell it to fade in. The music naturally fades in, but she fades in. It's usually good practice to start on a black screen and fade in. So if you push play here.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is eLearning Brothers.
We want the lower thirds to be on screen when she says eLearning Brothers. So let's go ahead and find that point in the timeline.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and
right there, she says, and this is eLearning Brothers. So I'm going to put my playhead there, and I'm going to go to my media bin. And I'm going to pull up my lower thirds graphic, which is right here. Here's a 1 and a 2. So I'll drag down the 1. And I'll place it right there. And you can see it's a little too large, so I'm going to shrink it down. And I'm also going to place it where it should be placed, here in the lower third area. Right there. Okay, now I'm going to get my second lower thirds graphic, drag it down on top. This is kind of an embellishment. And I'm going to line up the bottom corner. You can see down here in this corner, the two yellow lines show that that side and this side match up. I'm going to drag this down until the top matches up, just like that. And now I know that this is centered on top of it. So that's what my lower thirds graphic is going to look like. I also need the text there. So I'm going to come to annotations. I'm going to drag a text box down on top of these two graphics. Okay. Now I'm going to put this where it needs to go. I'm going to line up its boundaries with the lower third graphic, and I'm going to double click, and now I can type what we want it to say. I'm going to type Jessica, or say eLearning Brothers Guide. Great. I'm going to hit Control A to highlight all of that, make it left aligned, and you can see that messed up its location, and I'll fix that in a moment. I do want this eLearning Brothers Guide to be smaller, maybe a 45, so I'm going to highlight just that segment, come over to the size, highlighted it, and change it to be 45, and hit enter. And then I want her name, Jessica, to be maybe 10 points bigger than that, so I'm going to change it to be a 55, hit enter. And now I'm going to resize that again to where it should be. So drag this down, this up. There we go. I'm also not necessarily liking that font, so I'm going to double click. It highlights everything. Change the font to Open Sans. Let's try bold. There we go. That looks good. So let's play that.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesome, whether you need e-learning templates.
Okay, that's not bad. I do want it to slide in, though, so I'm going to use my behaviors again. And I want to use sliding for the text box, but I want the text itself to animate differently. So I'm only going to highlight the two text boxes, grab sliding, drag them down. Now these ones, I do want them to enter from the left. During, I don't want them to do anything fancy. I'll click none. And when they move out, I do want them to move out to the left, not to the right. So let's see what that looks like.
And this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesomeness. Whether you need e-learning templates.
That looks great. So what do I want the text to do? I'm looking through my options and I'm actually really liking this pop-up behavior. So I'll drag that behavior down on top of the text. Now let's see what that looks like, just default.
And this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesomeness. Whether you need e-learning templates or...
That looks pretty good. However, it looks like it's coming on screen a little too quickly. I don't want it to come on screen as that's coming out. I want it to be a little bit delayed. So I'm going to click and drag this in to resize the amount of time it's going to be on screen. We'll do about the same on the tail end. See what that looks like.
And this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesomeness. Whether you need e-learning templates or...
That works just great. Now this is also going to have an in and a during and an out. There's not really a lot of time for the during to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. The in looks fine. The out looks fine. Everything looks great. I'm liking how it looks. Let's push play again.
And this is eLearning Brothers. We're all about creating e-learning awesomeness. Whether you need e-learning templates...
That does work. That works very good. Now, how do you know when and where to put a lower thirds graphic? I generally like to put my lower thirds on the bottom left. Some people like to put it just underneath wherever your character is. So if your character is on the right side of the screen over here, then you'll put your lower thirds coming out on the right. If she's on the left, you'll put it on the left. Some people always center it. The Camtasia themes library that we have, the Camtasia lower thirds library, or overlays library, has a lot of centered lower thirds, a lot of left-sided lower thirds, just whatever you need. You can find that in the Camtasia template library that we have, and I'll stick a link right here for you to take a look at. Other best practices, you want that lower third to be on screen long enough that you can read it, even if you don't look at it immediately. You might be distracted by what she's saying rather than what is said there. So think about how long it takes you to read what's there and give it about 2 or 3 times the amount of time it takes to read it, and then take it down. Also, just whatever feels natural. I mean, if you've watched a few documentaries, you start to feel the rhythm of what a good amount of time for a lower third to be on the screen for is. These new behaviors in the new Camtasia is really great. I'm really enjoying it. And if there's any other advanced questions that you have or other tips or tricks that you need, let me know. Thanks.